What's up, guys? It's Jason, Justin here, and a new segment we're doing, guys. It's frequently asked questions. I guess I'm gonna try to play with some words here, yeah. So we get a lot of questions, tons, like daily, right? And they're awesome questions. And a lot of times I'm like, we've answered these 9, 10, 15, 25 times, and we're like, you know what? Why don't we just do a little YouTube stuff, this and that, and and hit a question every day or two, and kind of let you guys know. We'll get into insights of the business side of running Terror Trader, the horror business together, just whatever, man. You know, there's a lot of stuff that you guys behind the scenes you don't see that we're going to actually, I don't know, tell you all and push you all and all that stuff. But I think one that people, I get it all the time, is how did you guys find J-Decay? Right? Like we dug you up somewhere, right?
Woke from the earth.
But I thought about it, and I answer, but I'm like, you know what? Let's just talk about kind of like your origin story a little bit and all that stuff, because a lot of people know mine, because I run my mouth constantly and tell everybody, you know, where I came from in West Virginia and how I became a horror fan and all that stuff. But we don't really hear much about you, man.
Sure.
Right? You're too busy. I don't know what you're doing actually half the time, but anyway.
Right.
So let's kick that. Let's find out. Like, tell me a little bit about your history, how you got into horror and whatnot. And then I'll also tell you how we met. Oh, we lost our light. Oh well,
we did.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Cheap light stuff. So my bad. So anyway,
we're off to a hot start, baby.
Yeah, that's why I can turn it back on, but I don't care. Yeah. So all right,
we'll keep it turned on.
Yeah. So all right. So let's talk about you, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I ran away from Massachusetts because I'm wanted.
I knew it.
This is not my real name,
knew it,
nor my real face. This is a facade. This is all a lie.
Yes.
No. Long story short, my grandmother got me into horror. I wish I had some really cool, elaborate story.
Yeah.
I don't.
Your grandma got you into horror.
My grandmother, and she hid it her whole life because my grandfather, he was just your typical blue-collar Northeastern guy, worked at a breaker, basically like a coal yard. And,
okay.
So horror was kept nip and tuck under the rug.
Yeah.
So my grandmother got me into it. Halloween, of course, being the movie, the franchise.
That's
and
so rad.
Being a fan of music, first and foremost, the Crimson Ghost, the Skull. And from there, you see their song titles, and they're all predominantly about horror. So, I mean, you just do your own digging and research.
I think Misfits are kind of like the epitome of horror punk, right?
So
I mean, that's the one, man. You know, when you think horror punk, I know there's tons of horror punk bands out there, but I think that's the bam, you know?
Yeah, they're pivotal, I think, to a lot of kids for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah.
But for me, the gateway to horror for sure would stem from my grandmother and the Misfits. And
nice.
From there on, you find your way, you talk to friends, their older brothers, they hand you this. You get maybe past the Faces of Death tape in school throughout the hallways. And
forget it.
Just forget it, right? So things like that.
Oh, that's cool.
Fast forward to, let's just go present day. You want to just do that? Let's talk about how I got to Arizona.
Yeah, because you're out of Salem.
Salem, Massachusetts.
Right? But then somehow, we crossed paths out here across country here. So,
right.
The
the pandemic, right? So I think that was a pivotal time for a lot of people, and for me as well. So from October 2020 to October 2021, it was my year that fell apart. I think we all can have a point in our lives where, like, everything is falling. Yeah. And that was my year.
Right.
But it was one of the best years of my life in a way, because here we are today, right? Yeah. So long story short, it was a failed relationship that lasted longer than most marriages do. So, I mean, that was for one. Number two, I actually managed one of the biggest witch shops in the world, not the country, the world. Hexed in Salem.
Oh, that's right. So you were a manager up there, right?
Right, and Hexed was an amazing place. A lot of lovely people out there that I've met, but the higher ups, we'll just say, a lot of back and forth conflict and yada. But so that was falling apart as well. Honestly, I'm very much I act on my emotion, which is often not good. Right. But everything that I've done in my life has always worked out for me in unexplainable ways.
Sure.
So I have I want to say a lifelong best friend. His name's Steve. He moved to Arizona, I want to say about a decade ago, something along those lines. And he was in my ear every step of the way, just super supportive, and come out to Arizona, you can stay with me, blah, 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 nice. We'll crush this together. And I put it off for a long time. And again, long story short, I met who I'm with now, Callie Marie, who you guys all know.
Of course.
And so we did this thing together. She drove across. I flew across the country. She drove across the country. In January, I want to say...
You made her drive and you flew. That's nice.
Right. Yeah, you know what I mean? Priorities. I come here. From popular demand. This is all I heard about was Terra Trader. Even in Salem, even in St. Petersburg, Florida, all I heard about was this Terra Trader.
Which is awesome, by the
And
way.
right, so here I find your place. We introduce each other.
Yeah, and now let me jump on that one,
Yeah.
right? So, you know, at the
Jason was
time,
desperate for.
yeah, no, at the time, we were growing and we were looking and like, oh shit, we can't do this on our own. And I was getting some awesome help from some friends, but they were also had full-time jobs, right? They had other jobs, so you know, even Ben from Satan Says Coffins was giving me some help here and there. But I get it. Everybody else has got they can't dedicate, and I was like, it's time to dedicate someone besides myself and Gina Marie full-time in here. And you kept popping in. And you know, one thing I look for is energy, man, right? And this may sound sappy, and we're not going to hug and all this stuff on camera. That's OnlyFans. You got to check it out later.
Yeah. Only creeps.
Only creep. But you always came in, and you were always pumped, man. And you just kept frequenting the store, and I like the energy, right? I'm like, and that's what I want, because I didn't want a store where people would come in and, you know, I hate places where you go in and people just ignore you.
Yeah.
Freaking hate that, man. So I was like, I wanted to be someone that's, hey, behind the counter, 24/7 that's happy, man, and like, yeah, let's talk horror, let's have some fun. And you kept throwing that vibe, man. And I'm like, fuck, man, this is pretty cool. So I was like, dude, I remember the text, I was like hitting you up, and I was like, you want some hours, man? I mean, I didn't know if you had a job yet or not, right? And I was just like, I knew Callie was coming out, and
right.
I was like, hey, man, if you want to, you know, pull some hours here, let's roll, you know. And well, that's how it all started, you know, and it's snowballed to where we're at now, man. So, right. Which is cool, you know.
You mentioned the word energy, and I feel like oftentimes my whole life I've been criticized that my energy was too high. People can either never keep up with it, or people were just not about it because I think it made them feel a certain way. Maybe, I don't know.
No, totally.
Sometimes high energy, they're a special breed. I'll say, you know what I mean?
It's yeah.
I met you, dude. You were electric, man, and Gina too. Again, not to give everybody hugs here, but like you walked in here, there was more than just horror. Again, it was very communal. Like it's like a destination. It's what we hear every day on a basis here, which is it's my feel-good place. This is my comfort. I'm having a bad day, I come to Terra Trader. And that's what I did upon moving here.
You're right, and I love that, man, and that's why I was like, we needed somebody that can still push that energy out to because you're right, people come in and have shitty days, man, and don't get me wrong, I mean, there's a lot of, everything's out in the real world, it sucks, I ain't gonna lie, but then you come in here and it's a smile on their face, and I'm like, that's awesome, man, right. And I want to keep that vibe going in here and all that stuff, and that's how we roll, man, and that's Jesus, man, and it's like, that was 8-9 months ago,
almost a year,
10 months, which is awesome, you know, and you endured the summer of Arizona, and you freaking made it, and you're alive, but yeah, so there you go. That's a quick origin story on J-Decay. Obviously, catch him on our Creepcast as well, if not behind the counter, making shit happen. But he's our manager of Terra Trader, man. And, you know, I'd like to see, like, you know, 5 years from now, what this is going to look like. How many different, are we going to have more than one Terra Trader? Are we going to have dozens? I mean, who knows? Are you going to own your own Terra Trader? Who knows what's going to happen, man? So, anyway, but, all right, so there you go. There's a quick FAQ for you guys. We'll keep doing these. We'll do a bunch of them, because I got about 1,000 questions from you guys, especially, like I said, getting into the horror business, which we'll hit next, and all that stuff. But now you know where this guy came from. I don't know if you know where I came from. It doesn't matter, but it's from the depths of hell. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next time.